Come and get started on a new mission, a new direction, a new intention. Welcome to 5.8G Alive at Connections 50 Plus. I am Terry-Ann Joseph Brathwaite.
And I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, catering to all your prospects in the third act of life.
Economic well-being, social gratification, personal fulfillment.
Join us on Wednesday at 6 p.m. on Connections 50 Plus Facebook page, YouTube channel,
and on Gael the Caribbean.
Hi everyone, good evening and welcome to Connections 50 Plus 5.8G Alive. I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, one of the co-creators of Connections 50 Plus. And as usual, with me is my colleague.
Hi, I am Terry-Ann Joseph Brathwaite. Lovely to be here again and welcome to everyone across the Caribbean.
Yeah. And Terry-Ann, this week I decided, because of so much negatives I've been reading, I decided for the entire weekend to just post positives. So I looked for, what I posted, what did I do first? Just a little clips with some inspirational, inspirational quote. And I found I got some very positive feedback, which says, if you send out positive energy, you will receive positive energy. And I decided to continue because I have been only reading all the negatives, what is happening in this piece.
Yeah, I think people are we're going through change. And
Yeah.
I see it as people expressing their view. And sometimes fundamentally, we don't like a view that is contrary to others or highlights something that we are not. And it's interesting. And I think it's all part of the eruption of change. I think coming out of this, our societies are going to be, I hope to God, our societies are going to be very different. So everybody have to fight up to get there. And you are one of the sane voices hoping for calm.
And that.
So we are continuing on our journey because no matter what is going on in the world with all the different things, as far as I'm concerned, the second act people fighting up to create their existence. And we have work to do with our third act stage. And I am refusing to allow myself to be distracted by second act issues, you know? So Jennifer, after last week, there was so much, I am so happy that we had the response that we did because we focused on Onika Henry last week, and we really addressed the issue of our sensuality, our sexuality, which is one of the first things we have to deal with, and this is what Connections 50 Plus is really talking about. And we want to thank a lot of you didn't comment and didn't identify yourself as okay. We know, but we've received so much feedback on the necessity of that kind of discussion. Yeah. And we want to assure all viewers that we are in all the segments, in Dollar Savvy, in Being in Tune, and in Being in Community. We are going to aggressively continue to bring the discussions that we as a cohort so uncomfortable confronting, but yet so important if we are to have a good, happy life on that third act stage. So
what will happen from here onwards? We want you to keep viewing, to send in your feedback, even though you don't put anything on, but at least continue texting us, WhatsApping us, and letting us know how you feel.
Great. So Jen, today we are starting our first segment, and that is going back to just as our love life is sensitive, our money life is sensitive. So Jen, you are now going to go onto our
Dollar Savvy.
So great.
Hi, welcome again to being dollar savvy. And today I'm going to be chatting with you this evening about appraising your expertise. Now, when I talk about appraising your expertise, we will really be looking at whether your knowledge, your skills, and your competencies are in alignment with your services or your products. So at this time, coming out of a pandemic, knowing what you worth to your company, to your operations, is very important to your plans, what you're planning for the future. So when we say appraising your expertise, this would determine whether you should add maybe new technology, whether you should diversify, increase your products, or just maybe change your business model. So you can ask yourself, are you the person who has the required expertise in your business? Or are you running a business where you have to hire someone with the expertise? Because this will make a difference to your decision making as you move forward. For those who are not yet in business, but maybe you're thinking about creative entrepreneurship, you would have acquired a lot of experience, your expertise, skills, etc. while you were in the workplace. Some of you may still be in the workplace. And all this expertise that you have acquired, you can monetize them so you can get that extra income while you're on the third act stage to really enjoy your life, because you need a lot of money then. On previous Dollar Savvy, Terry-Ann spoke about creative entrepreneurship. She spoke about starting up a business, about how you can have your systems organized, about building a customer base. So if you go back to the YouTube or Facebook, you can review those segments, because it will give you a lot of information to help you if you're interested in your creative entrepreneurship. So what you look at I would say, there are many moving forward post-pandemic, you would find there would be many opportunities opening up, which may require your skills. And you may want to start to really embrace those opportunities to set up a business. But before you do that, you really need to know what is your worth. How would you be able to value your expertise to really operate a profitable business? Okay. So to do that, what I would like here to go through with you is a 4-step process. And in this 4-step process would really help you to know your worth and to really define your skills, and in terms of your business, to look at how are you moving forward if you're going to what you need to do. So I would say, let's look at the first step. And for the first step, what I would like you to do, if you have any paper nearby or maybe a phone, take note. Of course, if not, you could always review this segment. So the first thing I want you to do is use 3 headings. So using the 3 headings, the first one will be professional knowledge. And when you talk about professional knowledge, you may be qualified, you may be a teacher, accountant, you may be just whatever type of profession you have been in, you would have had some professional knowledge or qualifications in that respect. The second heading I want you would be your technical skills. And again, technical skills, what have you done? What are you good at? And the third one would be industry and field experience, because experience is very important. So yes, you have those three headings: professional knowledge, technical skills, and industry and field experience. So you list your relevant, you list the information, what you have under those three headings. The second step, what you do now, you go back, you look at it, and you use a scale. So the scale will be 1 to 5, 5 being the highest, of course, 1 is the lowest. And you rank that expertise relevant to your service. And when I say relevant to your service, for instance, you may be a musician. All right, so you're very good with music. So you list that skill under, if that's a technical skill, professional knowledge, whichever, depending on what level you are as a musician, and you list that. But you ask to put a scale, to scale it to what is a 1 or 5. You ask yourself, is that relevant to the business I'm doing? So for instance, you may be a musician, but you may be selling food, let's say. Is the music relevant to the food industry right now for your business to run? If no, it means that you will put a lower rating there because it's not relevant. On the other hand, you may have a technician, a computer expert, who's offering his services as a computer technician or whichever specialty area within the computers. In rating his skill, that rating will be very high because that is key to the business. Okay, so that is how you would do your scale. Then after you complete that, you now want to put a value to each skill. So for instance, you would have rated the technician, for instance, may have received a 4 or 5 because of the level of importance for that skill to his service or the product that he's offering. Okay, now to put a cost to it, you need to know, let's say for instance, a 1 may equal $100, a 5 may equal $500. We put in a value here. So if your scale is 1, but when you put in your value, I'm just using $100 for 1 and $500 for 5 to you to get an idea how to value it. However, you should base your value on either what you're earning right now or the demand in the market or what the market rate is like. So those are the rates you're going to be using to give a fair value to your skill, to your expertise. So that's number 3. Number 4, when you complete it now, you do some calculations under each area. So you could make the adjustment. So you have an understanding now, or yes, let me look at what decision I should make. So if under the 3 different headings, when you look at it, you will see immediately from your rating that, listen, I am running a business here, but like my expertise, that's not worth anything. Should I now switch? Should I relook at what I'm doing? Remember, you're going in, this is post-pandemic. The market is changing. And let me say this, with the market changing, the 50 plus persons, 50 plus, those are, we have to really be very innovative and creative. We may not be able to continue operating, and I don't think anybody would operate it in the same way. But I believe, and from listening to the Minister of Finance, etc., our cohort will be under a bit more pressure. So we need to understand this and get ready. Get ready for when we go out there to create a whole new, I would say, a whole new economic space for us, if I may put it that way, where we know our worth, we know our expertise, and that's why it's important for us to have do that appraisal, I should say, of our expertise. So when we maybe redefine our service or decide whatever decision we make, when we go out there, we're going out there with proper information, which will build our confidence to really, build the business, improve the business, okay? So that will be where the calculation comes in. You need to see your knowledge, your experience, your skills, your expertise. These are your most valuable assets. Recognize that and don't sit back or give away expertise free. All right. So if you're in business, yes, you still need to appraise. You have to look back. We have to all look at what is happening now, look at the future, what's going to happen post-pandemic. All right. So if you don't know your worth, then you would not be able to really have that profitability in your business. And I want to tell you this. In looking at the steps, I know many of you out there may be wondering, may have some challenge in valuing your skills, putting that value. These 4 steps are very simple though, but what we have decided, what Connections 50 Plus has done, and we would show you in a while what is more about it. We have created a toolkit called the 5.8G Essential Toolkit. And that toolkit was done, it consists of assessments, which will help you, those of you out there who are not too sure about your skills, even those who are already in business. And well, you started your business because you figured this is what you know. I am accustomed doing X, and I'm a musician, and I'm just using musicians now. And I come out and I just want to, so I'll give music lessons. But you may have other skills, or you could utilize your skills in a different way. It may not just be music lessons. And let me say this, as I mentioned, music with food. It may be just for you to play music at dinner parties, etc. So this toolkit, it's a toolkit with assessments, which would definitely help you to define your skills, to know exactly, to be able to scale it properly, understand the value. So when you redo your business plan, or at least look at your operations, you would be able to say or make that decision, make an informed decision as how you should move forward. All right. So this is a short segment, and it's really about appraising your expertise, understanding how your skills, etc., how they are aligned to the business you are in for profitability. So I want to thank you for listening. Please, if I went a bit too fast, go back. We always have it there on Facebook and on YouTube, so you can follow the steps and give us a call after you look at our Essentials Toolkit ad, and let us know if you are interested to come on board with us. So I thank you very much right now.
For all you 50 plus people looking for a one-stop shop equipped with dividends to guarantee personal fulfillment, social gratification, and economic well-being, well, we at Connections 50 Plus have a state-of-the-art toolkit especially for you. This is no gimmick. It is an essential toolkit chock full of customized online assessments created by experts to help you greatly improve your life chances. It is the CONEC-TIONS 50 Plus 5.8G Essentials Toolkit. Gain peace of mind, lead an enjoyable lifestyle, plan your future, and make your dreams a reality. For without dreaming, we lose the excitement of possibilities. Dreaming is indeed a form of planning. CONEC-TIONS 50 Plus 5.8G Essentials Toolkit allows you to dream. Seize this opportunity now. Call us at 868-685-8834 or 868-682-9202 or connect with us at CONEC-TIONS50plus.com. Dreams are but a shadow of our potential. Let's make our dreams a reality.
Okay, Jen, that was a very, very interesting approach. You know, we really do have to, as we begin to prepare for this new environment, and it's not only new post-pandemic, it's new economy, new social arrangements, new everything. As we always say with our assessments, we have to start and know where we are. We really have to know where we are. So that was excellent.
Thanks.
Great. And now in that same vein, we move into our next segment, which is being in tune. Okay, so viewers, we are back to being in tune. And as we said at the start, we started a whole session last week with Onika Henry. And one of the things that we want to first let us assure you that work is going to continue. Because just as Jen had said in the earlier session, the first step to assessing anywhere that you are is to understand you. What is the current condition? And if any of you all have done any of our programs, if you have done the essential, which you just looked at, or any of the others, you would know we always start by asking what's going on with you. We, as an experienced cohort, the 5.8G cohort, we know when we were in the workplace, when we looked at our children, they just walked into the room and we knew, okay, something's up. And the first thing you have to do when you are facing any situation or challenge is to say, what is going on now? Because if you don't understand what's your current situation, then you're likely to take very wrong steps. Now, you might make the correct first step, but it might be in the wrong direction. Or you might be facing the right direction, but you're taking the wrong step. And that's the essence of how we are going to help you with being in tune as we go forward. Last week, we started with the issue of ourselves and our bodies, our sensuality and our sexuality. And we believe that it is so very important because so much of why we find it difficult to adjust to being on the third act. Even to admit that I am 50, I am 60, I am 62, I am 73, I am 84. That whole hang up with our age is the first thing that says that we are not in tune with who we are and what we are about. And it is why we, Jennifer and I, think it is so very important to, some people were surprised by the frankness and directness of the discussion with Onika. Some people opened their eyes when they saw the models come up, both of them, the male and the female. And some comments were, wow, this is important information. Boy, all you're brave. Woo, woo, woo. Some people just didn't know how to express, but everybody admitted and confirmed that the discussion was about a subject that everyone is interested in, but so many of us are afraid to, reluctant to get into, because we're very concerned with what other people may think about us, because we thinking about ourselves, or we very concerned with still keeping up appearances or keeping up an image, which really has nothing to do with the stage that we're at. And so we started with that discussion, but I want to bring us back to understanding, being in tune with yourself so that you would understand the direction that Jen and I will be taking over the next 3 weeks as we get into a whole different section. Okay? Because if we, and first let's talk about how do we know that we are not in tune with ourselves? Let's do some little checks. Something is happening out there and it's different to what we would normally do, or it's different to what we think acceptable. So what's your first reaction? Sometimes it's judgment. Look at that person. Look at what he or she is doing. When, like happened on our show last week, a lot of us would have been, oh my God, but not admitting that we are secretly admiring another person's strength to stand on their belief, go and explore what they want to explore, and not be afraid to break from a habit that they've had to carry that they mightn't have liked all their lives. So we want to say to our 50 plus cohort, just as Jennifer said in the dollar savvy, the pandemic has caused a complete shift in our economies, and we are going to be the casualties because, as they say, you have to focus on the productive sector. So she's right, get those checks. But if we are also not in sync and honest with who we are, if we are not willing to have an open and honest discussion, as Onika talked about, being very truthful about the concerns we have with our own self. Last week we talked about our sexuality and sensuality. It's all over. You're afraid to admit your age. You're afraid of your body image. And unfortunately, these are the things that really ties up women. A lot of women have those issues. Doesn't mean that men don't have the issues. They sit in silence and suffer, or some people get aggressive and begin to be more macho than they need to be, while not understanding. Some hit out and decide to disrupt their homes and their lives, and we call it midlife crisis, and you end up with divorce, you end up with affairs, you end up with all kinds of things. And we both as a community, just because we don't want to have that honest conversation to make sure that our minds are synchronized, we end up, the only thing we could really pretend to continue with is what we knew. That second act stage, which is totally out of sync with where we are. And in the world as it is coming, it's a very big change. We are a significant cohort. We the 50 to 80 cohort. We are wisdom, we are experience. We have to be strong enough to say, this is how we want to live our lives. We have to be not ashamed of what our desires and our ambitions are. And we have to be less concerned about what another person or another group is doing, and be honest about what do I want to do and what do I have to do to achieve it, so that in this new pandemic, whatever the social outcomes are, whatever the economic outcomes are, we as individuals are in tune. So Jennifer and I are working through with Onika and some other professionals to put together some programs to help us to go through those steps, to really be in tune with who we are. Now, no, we're not going to have you in a group of the directed practice exploring your sexuality with a lot of strangers. We are not going to do that. But we are going to develop programs that will help us to do a good self-examination, to get us in a place to at least recognize, just like Jennifer said, you have to recognize yourself economically, to let us recognize who we are as individuals and decide on the direction that we want to go in. Because we don't want to be stepping forward onto the third act stage totally out of tune, because we either made the wrong step or we stepped in the wrong direction. So I just want to reinforce and to give everyone the assurance that we know we're going on to the third act stage. Our instruments might be fully in tune, but one thing you can be very assured of is Connections 50 Plus, Jennifer and I are going to be working with you and the entire cohort to make sure that we all get there and we all truly have the best time of our lives. So this is a short being in tune to help you to get your mind oriented to where we want to go. We know you're excited, we know you're tuned in, we're happy, and we want you to stay that way. So keep listening, and very soon you're going to get all the information you need to remain in tune and enjoy the third act, the best years of our lives. Great.
Terry-Ann, when you spoke about us, many of us on the third act stage don't even want to mention your age. Somebody asks you, how old are you now? Not being inquisitive, but sometimes maybe a birthday, and say, what birthday is this? And they say, I'm not ready to tell, I'm still young, or they switch some age and say, I'm still 19, or I'm still, to just not say the correct age. And I believe it shouldn't be embarrassing. I don't know why. Mm-hmm. But it says to me that you haven't embraced the stage you are. Mm-hmm. And it happens many, many times where people wouldn't say their age.
Yeah.
And that means for me that you're not ready. So I think the test is for us to be able to say our age. Yes. When we can do that, I think we're ready.
We are going to fix that,
With the programs that you spoke about, definitely, all that will be included, because it's about building confidence and getting ready to go out there.
Yeah. So, Jennifer, we have one more section to do.
Yes, it's really great. There's so much happening out there and we want to share it. We want to share with you those who are doing some really good work out there with their communities.
Yeah. So you're going to enjoy 2 interviews in our Being a Tribe segment, and they have 2 very different perspectives on what it means to be a part of our tribe. So stay tuned.
Hi, everyone. We are back again, and this segment is Being in a Tribe, Enjoying Community. And we have with us a guest. You may be familiar with this face because she was a guest before, but on a different topic. And this time, so we have Michelle Barton Romeo. And we invited Michelle because Michelle is doing such wonderful things in her community. So Michelle, welcome again to Connections 5.8G Alive. How are
Yes,
you
we are
doing?
live.
Yeah. How are you doing in this pandemic?
We are doing good. Let me just say thanks again for having me, and thanks to the crew. And I must say that these recordings are absolutely wonderful. You guys are doing a great job, and we are learning and we are growing. And I thank you for the effort that you all are putting out. You know, so how am I doing? I am actually doing great. It might sound so strange to hear this now because there is a lot of complaints going on, but I am actually doing great. And I think because of this shift in the mindset, and I know you will ask me questions of that as we go along, as to why we are doing great. Am I making all the money that I could be making? No. Is my business operating? No. Am I going to work? No. But I'm doing. I don't know how to calculate that.
Yeah, you could calculate that because you're sharing a lot of love within the community. You're giving back, and that makes you feel very good. So, Michelle, I know you're much into your garden, and I'm enjoying seeing all the tips that I'm getting on Facebook, etc. So, tell us about the garden and what are you producing and how you are helping others, by providing food.
Okay, well, my family is huge. Let me say that off the bat. We have a very big family. It's 10 of us, and most of us live close together right in this area as well. And then we are now kind of getting there, the over 50 crew. So we have children who are also now old enough to be on their own. And some of them have gotten land and areas around here, and it's a whole big community, and plenty is family, although a lot isn't. And one of the things that I have decided to do is to help as much as I can, because when I make a few calls to people and say, how are you doing? And how are you doing? And people are not saying loud, but there are a lot of people who in this period right now are not doing very well. So I thought, listen, don't even ask how you're doing, just share. Whatever you have, share. Most of what I share is just tips and tricks on how to grow your own food, because I'm believing, pandemic or not, is somewhere that we should have already been, growing some of our own food. And that has been well received on Facebook and otherwise. It has been well received. And I love to cook. I love to bake, Madame Moringa and all this baking and cooking and stuff like that. And no markets to sell anything anywhere. So my thing is now, just give it away. It will come back to you. However God designs for it to come back to you, it will come back to you. And so we have been doing that. We did breads and gave it to people in the community. My plants, my produce. I made seasoning and gave away bottles of seasoning in the community because the seasoning is growing, right? Growing. And you have to make something with it. Some of these things has to be processed in order for us to preserve it.
Yep.
So people got seasoning and all sorts of different little things. If I can show you my mint infusion.
Excuse me. I have to put in an order for that.
What is it?
Mint infused water.
Oh,
I recently got a regular urinary tract infection. I called the pharmacy. I got a prescription over the counter. They gave me something. And then 2 weeks again, I got another one. I said, nah, I ain't taking no more antibiotics. But of course, that is with great advice. So you all have to be careful. Anybody who's listening to me, I did not say do not take prescription drugs. I'm saying it was over the counter. And the same way how I told myself I can do this, I decided to say, let us see what else we can do. And when I did some research, I realized the good old mint that I have growing in the yard, they say is excellent to help keep your urinary tract healthy. So I decided to make my own mint infused water, and I'm doing that. Trust me though, guys, if by next couple of days it's not better, I am going to the doctor. I want to make it clear, I'm not saying diagnose yourself. I want you to visit your physician if you are not feeling well. But little things, we can do. And this is the whole gist of my garden, right? Because I deal with food and not really medicine. And if you grow some of your own food, your wallet is going to smile from ear to ear. And one of the things that I realized with that also, ladies, is that the seeds that I get from my produce 100-fold, 1,000-fold more than what I grew. What do I do with all of these seeds, all of these new produce, all of these new plants? What do I do? And at this point in time, I can do nothing but give it away. So I decided, here, I've been preparing for my Corpus Christi market and all of that. It didn't happen. I'm like, you know what? Give it away. Just give it away. I ran a campaign and scores of people came, all protocols observed, and we gave away hundreds of plants. We gave away the wonder of the world, lemongrass. I don't even have a lemongrass to show you here now because we gave that away. Everything, just gave it away. We gave away the vervine. We gave away barbadine, basil plants. I have my African blue basil here. We gave away. And this cute little plant, the marigold, the marigold is so versatile in the garden. It's a natural pesticide and it's a natural pollinator. I am so afraid to handle chemicals. I don't like chemicals at all. I don't like handling chemicals. And I know that if you are a big farmer, you need to use some chemicals, or is that produce most likely won't going to reach to the market. So I'm not saying I'm against chemicals. I'm saying I don't want to handle chemicals in my garden. And I use, one of the things that I use is the marigold plant. This planted all over is going to give you some protection against horrible insects that comes and eats your fruit, and it eats the leaves. Sometimes it eats the plant before the plant begins to bear. And it will, or the pretty flower brings in the pollinators, and the scent of the marigold deters a lot of insects from even coming to your crops. So if you don't want to handle pesticides and weedicides and stuff, plant marigold all around your garden. Because I'm saying this because a lot of people don't want to garden because of the pests. And if you don't like chemicals like me, plant marigold, pretty flower, and it's going to give you that level of pest control. So I gave away hundreds of marigold plants, and I have hundreds more to give away again. That project I did a couple of weeks ago was so great. It was really nice. I saw people started to ask me what I wanted because they have gardens too. And they brought stuff for me. So I got some new plants that I did not have. And it was really nice. Right now, there's a lady who promised me something and she couldn't come and she's going crazy. And she said, and I know, don't worry, you'll get here, don't worry, you know? And with that, I thought, just give it away. Let's help people. If you don't like to plant because you're afraid of the pests, because they sting, they hurt, and it's hard. When you go out into your garden and see it's eaten by something after you work so hard, it's hard. So a little bit of encouragement to everyone. Marigold, if you don't have, I'm going to give you some, just so that you can see the difference and you can plant something. And then you would have to give. You have to give, right? So
Michelle, and I know I'm on the list for the marigold plant.
Yes. Oh, yes. I have your marigold and support you. I have a joy. I find there's such a joy in giving and sharing, and I am enjoying the returns. A big bunch of planting the other day and all this sorts of things. I'm enjoying the returns. But most of all, what I'm happy is to see that people are actually using what I've given them. I took a walk up the hill not so long ago, and some of the farmers, there are a couple of farmers up there as well, who I did hundreds of pigeon peas and so on for them. And when I go, the trays are empty. They have planted out the pigeon peas. They planted out dozens of barbadine. And listen, in a few short months, that's going to be income for these people who are not working because construction is closed. And if you want to say, well, pigeon peas is going to take months and it's only next year I'll get pigeon peas, you have to remember that if you don't do it now, come next year, you won't have any pigeon peas. So you have to start early and do what you have to do. But God is good. I know it's difficult times, but I am just here. I'm free. I'm an open book. Jen, my number is on Facebook.
Yes.
Anybody can call for advice. Anybody can call me anytime. If they're having trouble with their gardens, I see what I can see what I can do for them. And we just got to keep it going. We have to plant. We have to plant.
And Michelle, really have to congratulate you on that. You know, just you're enjoying community. And this is what this segment is all about too.
Yes.
That's just being in a tribe and enjoying community and reaching out to others. You know, you mentioned the farmers that to help them, you know, and encourage them that they can plant their peas and look forward to a crop that can bring in the income. Even what you do in terms of your, you know, the tips that you give on your Facebook page. They have a bit, you know, recently I saw where you showed how you can just take newspaper and create pots and you put it into the ground like that. And all that is very, very good. Yeah. And that sort of savings, because people may be listening to you and say, okay, but they can't even afford to buy pots. And you went so far as to show them how they could create pots without costing a cent. So that is really great work that you have been doing within your community, and to see also that you can make money out of what you do, but you chose to give it to help the community, understanding the need outside there and to encourage, you know, us to grow food. And I must add here before Terry Ann come in, I actually got to listeners, one of the gifts from Michelle was a melon plant or eggplant. And man, I have been given away. So I have 2 I picked yesterday to give a friend, you know, whenever she can pass to collect it. So I have been gaining from your advice and from your gifts.
That is so good.
And extending to friends.
Great.
It's going to keep going, you know, it's going to keep going.
I think, Michelle, that you really captured the essence of what we call building a tribe. It's so important for us to understand we are not islands. And at the end of the day, one thing with food or things that nature gives to you, you can't limit it, because that one seed yields so much more, you know. And the other thing, so you have to give it away. Even farmers, when they have surplus, they give it away. You can't keep it. It will just go right back to the earth if you don't.
That's right.
And I love the conservator in you, by your use of the bags, and I'd love you to show it again, to use as a seeding pot. You know, the newspaper.
Oh,
and
right.
I think that is because, you know, there are all kinds of things, people using toilet rolls, are using this, that, and the other, and I can easily see that on your kitchen counter, filled it, put it in a little plastic container, and put your seeds in it as you cut the sweet pepper and you cut the pimento, and just stick it in the yard, and it will go.
Well, it won't really last that long. The idea of this is that it breaks down in the ground.
Yeah. I mean, you have it there and you just go in the yard with it when you're done. You know, wonderful.
It is, definitely.
So I think great. Your work with it's really the spirit of us understanding all of our gifts are not meant to be kept. You know, they say an open hand receives far more than a closed fist. So you certainly represent that, and we're proud to have you as part of the CONEC-TIONS 5.8G Alive tribe. Okay, Michelle. So that's good. So we saying anything else, Jan?
No, at this stage, Michelle has really covered all the good that she has been doing for the community. And again, I just want to thank Michelle. I look forward for my plants. I look forward for the marigold. And no, it feels good, you know, to give you give to the community, and you have been receiving, blessings as a result. So, Michelle, so thank you so much for joining us, for sharing and actually demonstrating, what you have done.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are back and we are continuing to talk to our community about what our community is doing being a tribe. And in this segment, we have a special one of our loyal followers, Barbara Bridgewater. Welcome, Barbara.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure being on your program.
And thanks for joining us, Barbara.
And I would give a special kudos to Barbara, because Barbara actually attended our launch on the 7th of April in 2019.
Yes.
So we could say that you've been here from the start. So Barbara, we like to get the views of our followers. And this conversation is just, you tell us what CONEC-TIONS has meant to you. What has the journey been like with us? What are you seeing?
Well, I would like to say that in the first instance, it's a great idea, because being in that 5 to 8 G Alive group, it's really a transitioning period. And for many of us, we need some help in how to go forward successfully, with contentment, with satisfaction, and, with the right feelings and accomplishments. So it was a very good opportunity to be a part of that kind of movement. And along the way, I have participated in some of the activities and so on. And now with the advent of COVID, we have the virtual aspect of it. And really, it's really rewarding, because now you can sit at home and be part of it. I mean, face-to-face is great, but it brings something to you, which is really important. It brings that sense of community, It fills the need to understand where you are at, where you would like to go, and how you should do that. You hear other persons' experience of how they cope, or they are coping with the third act, all right?
Yes.
And so you learn, you glean, you can profit from being a part of it, and feel a sense of community, actually. I mean, yourself and Jennifer are very congenial, you all are, very accommodating. And so you really have added that flavor that you need, that this program needs to have. Yeah.
It's really nice to be, you have validation that, and Jen, sometimes we're concerned that, it's digital, it's Zoom, it's on the TV, it's on the computer, but it's so good to hear that even via this medium, you still have the sense of being a part of something that you can identify with.
Yes.
So that's not the challenge for us. Great.
Okay.
And I know that you, in our 5.8G Alive format, with our 3, being in tune, being dollar savvy, and being in tribe, you've been listening. And I know you were especially moved by a session that Jennifer did recently, with being in tune and mind, body, and soul. So tell us about that.
Right. Well, to me, that is such an important issue, because we can't move forward without being in tune with ourselves, understanding, who we are, how we are made up. And that whole thing about, I know we are body, soul, and spirit, and that the soul is so important. I mean, Jennifer talked about, it's your personality, it's who you are, and soul being your mind, that's where all your thoughts are, your emotions. I mean, so much of us is emotion, and our will. We don't talk about that too much, but for us to really move forward, our will has to be part of the whole process. Because there are decisions to be made, even against how your body might be feeling, but you know you have to make some decisions in order to achieve what you want to achieve. So really it was the forum that really stuck out at me, you know. And Jennifer said some really good things about how to be the person that we all would like to be, the giver, the person who leaves a legacy, that kind of thing. The person in our group, in our tribe, who others can be supported, you know, who we can support, you know, or be supported by. You know? One of the things that struck out at me was that in order to be the person we want to be, we have to prepare our inner soul, our soul. Because sometimes, you know, we have, as I would have heard you mention, Jennifer, baggage that would keep us back, mindsets, thoughts. And if we want to be the person who people look to, it means that we have to empty of that baggage.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you know, we have to pause to understand, first of all, what is our baggage? And address that so that we can move forward, so that we can fill up with the good things. We have to empty of the things that are not so helpful. So for some of us, this is how it is. COVID is bad. I can't do anything. Yeah. I'm stuck. I'm lost. There's no hope. And then there's the other mindset where, you know, how can I work around this? What can this do for me? What can I learn? What's new that I can embrace? How can I excite myself in this time? And that may include, I think it definitely includes counting your blessings.
Yeah.
Jennifer always thinks about that. Jennifer, you can talk about that.
Barbara, first of all, Barbara, you know, it is really thanks for your endorsement, definitely with our program. And I must say, you know, it's a great feeling, and I know Terry and Flee just like me, to know that, you know, when we created, especially when we started, switched to the 5.8 year live, and we put it in 3 segments, it was to ensure that we reach people who are at different stages in life. You know, so some people may be going through the financial stage and they really, you know, what would have been said at that dollar savvy will just jump at them. Again, in tune like yourself and community. So it's really good hearing you, you know, give that endorsement, you know, for our program. And also, you know, you mentioned the mindset, and it's good to know that you have that positive mindset to take action, to appreciate what is being said, and to actually do something about it. I'm really happy to hear, you know, that from what you have said, and hope that many of our listeners out there, that we have many people like you out there who taking action and making, you know, a difference. But other thing, Barbara, and I think Terry Ann also shared with me, what how did you step out of your comfort zone? You know, what you did that was different after listening to the program?
Well, one thing I could say, and I'll be honest here, you know, when Terry Ann said to me, well, would you mind, you know, coming on the program? I said,
yes.
I will stop saying no.
Right, yes.
This is an opportunity, all right? The time and the program has presented an opportunity, and we really have to get out of our comfort zone sometimes. And especially further, because what are we waiting on, right? So this is the time.
And the thing about it is, we talk about using your own skills, and you're very perceptive, and yes, everyone has it in them. But I would like you to, I know you also do a lot with community based on skills that you had in your second act. And I want you in a little 2-3 minutes to just give our listeners a sense of who you are, what you used to do, and how you've converted those skills to working with your community right now.
Always a teacher, once a teacher. And then I went into life skills, which is what really opened up this whole sphere of self and values and attitudes and that kind of thing, developing the self, you know. And it was amazing, what it opened up for me. And I've used those skills in helping young people, especially teenagers and so on, to see themselves differently. Where even in the prisons, I've done some work there with the male and female inmates, children in communities, schools, and also through the games that I've created. I've had much fun and seen much that can be done through games in developing skills in children and helping them to be better people, and being. So I've had a really rich experience through life skills, which I went into after I retired from teaching.
Yeah. So is it safe to say that in your second act, you did a lot of life skill training with youth, people from the generation before you, and now you are with the Connections 50 Plus tribe, turning those skills and now looking at putting them to your own personal use and reaching out to your own tribe, our own cohort.
Yes, definitely.
I love the idea, the transfer, and you talk about transferring the skills from the second act to the third act, and see that it is, it's an asset that we have.
It makes it interesting, and it helps to keep us young as well. And making some money, by the way, if you can.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what it's all about too as well.
Which is the essence of what we are saying. It's the money, it's the self, and it's the community. And we are up to wonderful, wonderful for that. Barbara, this was so nice. Is there anything else you want to reflect? Any word that you want to give to our listeners who are tuned in now? You are day one, so.
And one of the key things is to listen to your own self-talk. That's so key. Sometimes we miss that somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's important. I want to add that for the times when things are more than you, there's God, there's faith. That really is a coping strategy. And I've also understood that, even in our daily doings, there are two areas that the soul, that helps the soul to thrive, and that's the sense of achievement and the sense of enjoyment. So that we do things that, gives us a sense of achievement, and then also mix that though with enjoyment. So find the things that you enjoy doing that give you that enjoyment, and mix that in with your achievement, and your days will feel good.
I'm so happy that we've had you on to really represent the tribe. And I mean, we've touched on all the areas. And
I'm honored to be here.
Yeah. It's really, really been great having you, Barbara. And you've touched on so many of our boxes.
Okay.
So thank you so much as well.
All right, Barbara. We look forward to when this pandemic is done and we are back together again.
Amen.
Take care.
Okay, bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Jennifer, aren't you proud of our community?
Yes, I don't know what else to say. Really, really nice. It's a tribe.
Michelle is doing such wonderful work with her community and her family with food. She's using her skills and really bringing people, it's almost like a barter system they have up there, which is sustaining them. And, like you were talking about, the economy is going to be different. We have to look at it differently.
You have to be creative and innovative.
And Barbara so beautifully reflected what this thing that we are doing here with Connections 50 Plus, how it inspires her and how it's really motivated her. And to think about how she uses her skills in different ways, the values of community and tribe.
Definitely. And what I want to ask our audience, our listeners, to continue recommending, sending us, tell us who, if you come on also as a guest, and let us know what you're doing and share with our audience.
Yeah.
That would be very nice.
Great. So until next week, Caribbean, have a great week. Bye.
Bye.
50 Plus Tribe and follow us from Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean.
Thank you for joining us on this Connections 50 Plus 5.8G Alive show.
We hope you enjoyed the lively conversation and look forward to seeing you next week.
Don't forget to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
We really love getting your feedback. Bye for now.